Title: They sold me as a bed warmer human. For years I was used to heat their bed. Then a human stopped it. The cold metal walls of the chamber hummed with an eerie mechanical vibration, the kind that made my bones ache. The stench of synthetic air mixed with stale sweat and loneliness. My eyes had grown accustomed to the dull gray surroundings, but it was the same, unchanging. The small cot where I lay was never enough to bring warmth, and no blanket could erase the cold that seeped into my soul. I was known as a bed warmer, a human, a thing bought for a purpose, to serve as a source of heat in a world where warmth was a luxury few could afford. I was traded between the high-ranking families of the elite, a possession passed like a piece of property. They said I was a rare commodity, a human bred for this sole purpose. Each night, I'd be summoned to the cold, sterile chambers of my owners. They expected me to heat their beds, to provide a false sense of comfort as they nestled in their silken sheets. The heat from my body was all I was worth, nothing more, nothing less. 4 years I had accepted this fate. I learned to accept that I wasn't human anymore, not in their eyes. I wasn't allowed to speak, to feel, to dream. The years blurred together, a haze of cold nights and heated bodies. My thoughts were numb, and my soul had grown dim. I was nothing but a body, molded to their desires, a commodity to be used until the heat faded from my limbs. Then everything changed. It was the night I was sold to Lord Veridan's family, a wealthy clan known for their extravagant tastes and cruel ways. His estate was vast, a labyrinth of towering glass windows that let in the harsh light of distant stars. The coldness of the place matched the owner. He was tall, with sharp features and eyes that seemed to look right through me. He barely spoke a word to me when I was delivered to his quarters. All I was to him was another possession, another warm body to keep him comfortable at night. As the first night in his bed approached, I lay still on the cold floor beside the massive, ornately carved bed where he would sleep. My thoughts wandered, memories of previous masters flooding back. Each one had treated me with the same indifference. Some used me roughly, others not at all. I was nothing to them, nothing but heat. Lord Veridan finally entered his chamber, his boots clicking against the floor. He walked past me without a second glance. "Prepare the bed," he ordered, as though I were some kind of servant, not a person with feelings. But I did as I was told, crawling into the bed where he would sleep, positioning myself beneath the heavy blankets. But as his cold, calloused body settled next to me, something stirred within me, something I hadn't felt in years. A voice in the back of my mind whispered, "This is not your life. This is not who you are meant to be." As he reached for me, his hands cold and unfeeling, I shuddered. Something within me snapped, a sudden surge of anger and defiance I didn't know I still had. I couldn't let it happen again. Not this time. With a strength I didn't know I possessed, I pushed him away, hard enough that he tumbled off the side of the bed. He cursed loudly, but I stood up, feeling the warmth of my own body radiating against the cold air in the room. I wasn't going to be used like this anymore. "You will never touch me again," I said, my voice raw with emotion, the words unfamiliar on my tongue. I felt a surge of power in the way I spoke, something that was mine and mine alone. Lord Veridan stared at me, incredulous. "What do you think you're doing?" he sneered. "You are nothing but a tool. A thing to warm my bed." "No," I whispered, my voice growing stronger. "I am a human being, not your possession." I backed away from the bed, my heart racing, my body trembling with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. He rose slowly, his expression shifting from surprise to fury. "You're nothing but a slave," he shouted, lunging toward me. But before his hand could touch me, The door to his chamber flew open. Standing in the doorway was another human, a man I had never seen before. His clothes were simple, but there was a certain warmth to his presence, a gentleness in his eyes. His gaze met mine, and I saw something I hadn't seen in years: compassion. "I heard the commotion," the man said, his voice calm but firm. "You will not touch her." Lord Veridan stepped back, eyes narrowing. "And who are you to tell me what to do in my own home?" The man didn't flinch. "I am the one who decides what happens to her from now on." The two men locked eyes, a standoff that seemed to stretch on forever. But the intruder's gaze never wavered. He stood his ground, a force of calm amidst Veridan's storm. Finally, Veridan's anger broke. He sneered, turning on his heel, and stormed out of the room, his footsteps fading into the distance. The man turned to me, a soft smile playing on his lips. "Are you all right?" I nodded, unable to speak for a moment, still reeling from the events that had just unfolded. I don't know what happened," I whispered, tears threatening to spill. "You happened," the man replied gently, stepping forward. "You found your strength again. You don't have to live like this anymore." With that, the warmth I had so long been denied began to return, not from my body, but from within. I had been used and discarded for so long, but now, for the first time in my life, someone saw me, not as a tool but as a person. And in that moment, I realized I was no longer just a bed warmer. I was free. As Lord Veridan lunged toward me, rage clouding his judgment, the door to the chamber burst open. A man stepped in, calm and composed, his presence like a beacon of warmth amidst the tension. "I heard the commotion," he said, his voice steady. "You will not touch her." Lord Veridan froze, sizing up the intruder, his face twisted in anger. "And who are you to tell me what to do in my own home?" The man didn't flinch. He stood firm, unshaken by Veridan's fury. "I am the one who decides what happens to her from now on." The tension between the two men crackled in the air. The standoff seemed to last forever. But the man never backed down. Slowly, Veridan's anger fizzled out, his eyes narrowing as he turned and stormed out of the room. I stood there, breathless, the weight of the moment sinking in. The man turned to me, his eyes softening. "Are you all right?" I nodded, speechless for a moment. Finally I whispered, I don't know what happened." "You happened," he replied, his voice warm with understanding. "You found your strength. You don't have to live like this anymore." His words felt like a light breaking through the darkness. I had been used for so long, seen as nothing more than a tool. But in that moment I realized something had changed. For the first time, someone saw me for who I truly was. Not a possession, but a person. And in that instant, I knew I was free. No longer a bed warmer, but a human being with the power to choose my own path. The end.